It's showtime. What's up, good people? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the #1 podcast in the world. And guess who's back? Guess who's back? My boy, Dominican E. What's good, E?
I'm back, baby. I'm back. Hey, the people wanted to see me, man. I'm back. I'm here. Let's go.
Oh, boy, here we go. Yo,
Yeah.
E, you told me your Colorado gear's coming soon. Your Deion Sanders gear's on the way, huh?
Yeah. Deion personally shipped it. I got coming on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Deion personally shipped it. Yeah, the bookstore sent it to you. Yeah, because you bought it.
Listen,
Amazon.com.
hey, listen.
So
I'm well connected.
so listen, guys. E, today we're gonna talk about two things. E. We're gonna talk about the boy Dwight Howard, right? Very interesting topical conversation on Dwight Howard today. We're going to talk about Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney, the head coach of Clemson's football team. And then at the end, we got to do A versus B. We got to do this versus that. We got to do a little versus at the end of the show, E. So let's kick it off.
Yeah,
All right, topical. Let's kick it off with the boy Dwight Howard, E. We got to kick it off with Dwight Howard, E. Now, last time we saw Dwight Howard in the NBA, I believe it was, E, we saw him locking down. We haven't seen a player defend Jokic as well as Dwight Howard did in the bubble when the Lakers beat Denver in the conference championship. I believe it was the conference championship to go to the championship, and they beat the Miami Heat in the championship in the bubble. But that guy, Dwight Howard, did a hell of a job on Jokic. And then all of a sudden, you heard nothing from him. Right? And he's been in the Philippines and he's not been back into the NBA. And you wondered why. Okay. And then we find out there's some shenanigans going on, Dominican E.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the information that's coming out about your boy Dwight Howard now, E?
Yeah, some very spicy stuff that's been, out in the media. I mean, I'm gonna let you start it off because this is real spicy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Such
look,
a great player. Yeah.
So it's a really, really interesting conversation, right? Obviously, there's a rape allegation going on. He's clearly admitted to being at least bisexual, right? I mean, he had a trans boyfriend in the room with him, and he invited a man over. He said they had consensual sex. The man said, though they wanted to meet up, when he came to the house and he saw the transvestite, he wanted to leave, and Dwight Howard would not allow him, and he said that he was raped. So that's the allegation. Now, we'll say this. Let's give a clear picture. Dwight Howard denies it. He's always denied it. Supposedly, the guy tried to get him to settle to pay money. Dwight Howard has refused to pay money and settle. Hence, the guy has brought a lawsuit for rape. Right?
Yes.
He's bought not well. Let me be clear, because I think this is a misconception. He can't bring a lawsuit, right? He's bringing out a civil suit. A criminal suit has to be brought by a district attorney, right? So he's alleging rape, and he's asking for financial damages to be paid to him. So let's be clear, because people don't understand the difference. If it was criminal, right, it would have to be bought by a DA, and the DA would have to charge him formally for criminal. So this is a civil suit. So with all of this going on, E, my first question to you is this. Do you think Dwight Howard, with this allegation, could play in the NBA locker room ever again?
No, I don't think he could ever play in the NBA locker room again. I mean, it's such a tragic, story to his, to his basketball career. This is a guy that, should have been on the top 75. I believe he should have been on the top 75.
Well, he should have been, for sure.
He should have been the top 75.
For sure. Over Dame Lillard, for sure.
Yeah, over Dame. And it's it's tragic what's going on in his life right now.
Tragic. I think tragic maybe is a little strong, right? It's not tragic.
It's tragic, man. It's tragic, man. It's, hey.
Strong word to use, but okay. Your word, not mine.
That's a lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, they got him,
So why can't he play in another locker room again? You said no. Why?
Man, I don't think the owners want to deal with that distraction. That's number one. And I think the players, don't want to be, around that in the locker room. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff going on. And the distraction alone, can cause a lot of, I would say they won't have chemistry. I would say that they won't have chemistry in the locker room with a guy like that in the locker room. It won't be
All right.
a team.
So I got this question. Okay. So I don't know. I'm not sure I fully agree with that. So I have this question. Okay. So right now it's an active case with the rape, right? The civil suit is active. I believe it. Well, I don't believe it's active. Okay. He's denying it. He's denying the accusation. Okay. Say he pays the guy off or he gets cleared of any wrongdoing, right? Or whatever happens. Okay. The rape allegation issue, the civil issue gets resolved. So that's behind you, right? In the world that we live in today, a world that's very inclusive, we live in a very inclusive world. If Dwight Howard owns this and says, I am a bisexual male or whatever he may be, I'm not sure what his classification would be, but he says, I am a bisexual male, I like men, I like transvestites, I like women. If he admits to that, right? And he gets embraced by the LGBTQ community, he gets embraced by that community, okay? I mean, you see football players have come out recently and they've been able to play in the NFL. You've seen other basketball players, the Collins brother, come out and he had some more years in the NBA. Why couldn't Dwight Howard, if he owns it and becomes a symbol of what's happened culturally today, why couldn't he be in the locker room?
Again, Frank, it's distraction. No team wants a distraction. Especially teams that are contending for a championship. They're locked in, they focus. Dwight Howard is going to bring that distraction into the locker room. And that's going to cause a lot of tension in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that he, will be ever allowed back in the NBA locker room.
So okay, so now he can help a team clearly. Okay, he's still a pretty good player. He can help a team. Now, yes, there will be some distraction that comes along with having a player like that. Yes, there will be some distraction. Do you think the distraction is, let me say, put in the wrong place? Is it a distraction because players would be uncomfortable, you think, in a locker room with him because of those tendencies? Do you think that players would be uncomfortable, or do you think that we've gotten beyond that in our world? Or do you think players be uncomfortable taking showers or what have you?
Yeah, I definitely think that players going to be uncomfortable. His presence in the locker room, taking showers, just him around in that environment. I think players will be uncomfortable.
So let me say this, E. So we live in a hypocritical society. And let me tell you why, okay? We all collectively said, I got to shout out, Mace said this, right? Which is interesting, right? Mace, Harlem Cat. Mace said, we always say, okay, and I got to give him credit for this, we don't kill people doing the bedroom, right? If somebody's gay, long as they don't do it to me, whatever they do in their bedroom is their business. We don't care about people. I mean, that's a very, very popular statement that people make all the time. All the time. We don't kill people doing their bedroom. That's their business, right? If we believe in that statement, okay, what he does in his bedroom is his business. If he likes transvestites, if he likes trans people, if he likes men, that's what he does in his bedroom. That's his business, right? I mean, if we all say that, right? I'm sure you said it. I'm sure I've said it. If whatever someone does behind closed doors is their business, right? So why is there a double standard as it relates to this? Whatever, if he likes to do freaky things or whatever he likes to do, in his bedroom, that's his business.
Right. Behind closed doors.
So why are you not letting the man be on your team?
You said it best. It's behind closed doors. That's between him and whoever he's dealing with. It's not out in the media. It's not out in the locker room. That's between who he's dealing with.
Right. So why can't he play on your? So why you can't put him on your NBA team then?
Because it's out in the public eye. It's out now. It's out.
but he's not doing that. He didn't. I mean, he wasn't flaunting it, which he could do that too. But he just was living his life.
Nah, Frank. Nah, this can't fly in the locker room, Frank. I'm sorry, this can't fly in the locker room, Frank. No way. No.
Okay. So then, all right. So okay. So cool. All right. It won't fly in the locker room. You feel okay? I understand that point. So now I have a question. So I have a question for you then, right? So there's a double standard then between men and women, because in the WNBA locker room, we okay with players marrying women, right? Things like that happen in the WNBA locker room. So why is that double standard okay in the women's game but not for the men's game? How's that fair? WNBA players are often, if you go to a WNBA game, right, there may be a lesbian woman there. There may be women that date women, wives of players, right? So why is that acceptable? But on the man's side, that's unacceptable.
That's a tough one, Frank. That's a tough one. Listen, I don't have.
But tell me why.
I don't have too much to say on that one. It's just the world we live in, Frank. It's a double standard. It is what it is. It's a double standard. I mean, women can do it. They can have, their wives in the locker room and all this stuff. But when it comes to men's sport, it's just, it is what it is.
But it's that masculinity BS, right? Masculinity BS, right? Because ultimately, do we look at our men athletes as gladiators, right? As our quote unquote heroes, right? As men's men. So we view them that way. And so if they have any homosexual tendencies, we look at that adversely.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Listen, I believe so. I'm saying, like you said, with men's sport, we look at them as gladiators. You know what I'm saying? They go out there and fighting. And that's just
a gay guy could be a gladiator. Some gay guys might knock a straight guy out. What you mean? So hold on. Would you say a gay guy can't be a gladiator?
Yeah, he might like the other guy, man. He might like the other dude. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
I don't trust
Dwight
that.
Howard.
I don't trust him.
Dwight Howard been gay for years, right? He been a gladiator in the NBA. Looked like a gladiator and played like a gladiator. And by the way, do you not in your right mind think that there's a decent amount of other gay NBA players? I mean, I understand it's in the closet, but you have to know that there's, they say around 10% of the population could be gay or what have you. It's a decent number, whatever that number is. Why do you think that population doesn't exist in locker rooms? You can't think every basketball player, football player, baseball player, whatever, soccer player is heterosexual, boxer. It's a whole bunch of gay people that's already in the sport. But I guess because you know about it, they can't be there.
Because you know about it. I mean, there was allegedly, we have to say allegedly, one of my favorite teams, the Miami Hurricanes, allegedly, there was a player that was, homosexual. You know what I'm saying?
What's his name? What player?
Oh. Allegedly. I'm going to just say he was an offensive lineman. That's all I got to say.
Big, strong, and tall one, huh?
Yeah, big, strong, and tall. That's what allegedly. That, you know what I'm saying? He should
I wonder
be
who I don't know. I wonder who that could be. That's your team. I have no idea what you're talking about. Who are you talking about?
Listen.
You want to out somebody on the show?
No, I'm not going to out nobody on the show. I'm not going to do that. I mean,
wasn't nothing wrong with that. But look, let me say this, man. There's gay guys in the league already, but I just find as we are moving more toward the world of inclusiveness, right? It's very hypocritical to make statements like whatever people do in their bedrooms up is their business, number one, and to make statements like we're all inclusive, the NBA is about inclusiveness, and to talk about how men and women should be treated the same. WNBA women, absolutely. I mean, Candace Parker just recently she had a husband from before, had a baby. Now she just married a woman, which is fine, right? I mean, and that's totally okay in that league. But in the NBA, the guy can't get a job.
Yeah. It's tough, Frank. It's tough.
I'm tired of you saying it's tough. I want you to give me some more specifics. Sounds like I brought up a topic. You're a little uncomfortable. You like squirming in your seat right now, Dominican E. Hey, E, what's up, E? I never heard you so non-committal before on the topic. Unbelievable.
Man, this is tough one, Frank. Listen, I looked at men athletes as gladiators, man. I look at them as gladiators. They're going out there and fighting. You know what I'm saying? Compadre, your guy next to you. I just can't see a guy that's, out there, he's homosexual. You out there competing. He out there liking the opponent. I just can't see that. Oh,
come on, Eric. I mean, just because Eric, come on, you can't be that shallow. Because a guy is competing against a guy, even if he did like the guy, it doesn't mean you don't compete against him, right? You might like your girlfriend, but if you playing her in a game or something, you still trying to win. I mean, what do you mean? Just because you think he might like the guy on the other team, don't mean that he don't play hard against him. Pause. Play hard against him. But the point I'm making is, you can't. And by the way, gay people can be gladiators too. Look at the women in the WNBA. They're highly competitive. Come on, you can't. I think it's Eric. You can't say just because a person is gay that they can't be gladiators and they can't play hard.
No, what I'm saying is this.
Some of the toughest people in the world could be homosexual or bisexual.
This is what I'm saying, Frank. I understand.
What you saying?
I understand this. It's like when you out there fighting and competing, you got to know, like, this guy here, you know what I'm saying? I understand if you're competitive, and there's a lot of homosexual men that are competitive, but like for me, or personally for me, if I'm out here competing, I'm out here trying to win, and I got a guy beside me I ain't too sure about, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way, Frank. It's just me, and I'm pretty sure.
But why you? But this what I'm not. But this what the part about it I'm not getting, right? Like, if you're uncomfortable with homosexuality, you can say that, right? But what do you mean you're not sure about? Like, so you're competing against a guy on the basketball court with a guy on your basketball team or your football team. I'm not understanding why you questioning his competitiveness or how bad he wants to win because he's gay. I don't see the correlation there. A guy can't be gay and want to win and compete. I mean, every gay man is not effeminate, right? Or non-gladiator. I mean, what do you mean? He can be very, very testosterone male-like, but just like men at the end of the day. I mean, really.
I hear you, Frank. I don't know about full of testosterone, but I hear you. I hear you on this one, man. I don't know, man. Hey, listen. Cool. If y'all want him in the locker room, good. It's on y'all. But I wouldn't want him in the locker room. Hey, listen, man. I wouldn't want him in the locker room, man. I know we live in a society where.
Let me say this: the way the Lakers need to guard Jokic, the way Jokic be busting the Lakers' ass every time he play against them, they got to bring Dwight Howard in as fast as they can. If they want to win a championship, the way Jokic been eating them alive. Yeah. What? They better Dwight Howard need to be on speed dial.
Yeah, Dwight Howard going to check him real tight, too.
Yeah, all right, well, that might be what they need. That might be what they need for them to check him tight.
Yeah,
come on, man. All right, well, look. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Dwight Howard will find his way on an NBA team once all of this gets resolved, and he's ready to move forward with his life. Because it was funny, but Eric, it was funny. A couple of weeks ago, the Golden State Warriors brought him in.
Yeah,
remember, like Draymond Green said something about it or whatever negatively, and then right afterwards, they didn't sign him, and I felt like. And the NBA, listen, the NBA knows what's going on in everybody's life. They got the top security people. They got the FBI down with them. So they knew what was coming with Dwight. They knew how Dwight got down. And by the way, for years and years, I think a lot of NBA players knew how he got down. Why do you think all these guys hated him for so many years, right? So many players, Shaq used to diss him all the time. You always wonder why Shaq dissing Dwight Howard like that. Kobe Bryant used to diss him all the time. When he came to the Lakers, they thought he clowned around too much. Dwight Howard was so maligned in the NBA, right? No team he was ever on did anybody like him. And now you know why.
Yeah. Instead of Superman, it's Superwoman.
Oh, man, come on, man. All right, well, listen. Listen, I don't know about all that. I hope Dwight Howard gets back into the NBA. I think he can compete.
And the guy he brought for the threesome, his name was Kitty.
What that got to do with anything, dogs? What
Oh, you have a guy named Kitty. Come on.
it was. I mean, that's the nickname, bro. A trans person, that's the nickname. Look, bro. Let me finish, man. I hope. Listen. I think it will be a distraction if he was in the locker room, but I think it'll be a distraction on the road. But ultimately, we live in a world of inclusiveness. Hopefully, Dwight Howard can get himself back into the NBA and resume his career. All right, because again, we live in a world of inclusiveness, and if the WNBA could do it, was good for them. The NBA should be able to do it, and the rest of the world should be able to do it. Everywhere you look around the world, we live in a world that's a lot more inclusive in general, right? So we should open up our horizons, open up our minds, right, and let Dwight Howard back into the NBA, right?
I hear you.
So I want to see you. I want to see you at the next Knick game with a signed Dwight Howard. Signed Dwight Howard. I'm gonna let Randy gonna go to the Laker game with a signed Dwight Howard sign. I'm gonna have Randy go to the Laker game. Randy, sign Dwight Howard sign. Randy, come on, man.
Oh God, hey. It's sad. It's sad, but hey, let's move on. Let's move on.
All greatest NBA players.
Well, he got better. He got
averaged 15 points for his career.
Yeah. So all right, E. So anyway, you say no to Dwight Howard. I say I hope the guy get back into the NBA. Usually I'm the one that's not politically correct, right? Usually you the politically correct guy. But this one, man, I hope the man get back to the NBA. And LeBron James and the Lakers need him. They need him very bad.
Yeah. He definitely
all right, so enough of the Dwight Howard talk. You know what I'm saying? Dwight Howard and Kitty, right? We will now switch gears, E.
Oh God. Yes.
Switch gears, E. E, by the way, and Dwight Howard is definitely a gladiator. I mean, come on, look at that guy, bro.
Yeah. He's definitely a gladiator, all right.
Yeah. So, but all right, so let's switch gears now. Let's talk a little football. College football season out right now. A lot of great stories. Crazy stuff happening with the Michigan Wolverines, which I think Jim Harbaugh loves, right? Because I think all of this controversy helps him bring his team together. So much controversy around the University of Michigan, and it helps them create this environment of like us against the world. Right. And right now they are looking like the best team in college football. They look right now like the best team in college football.
Yes.
So we got that going on. We got my Alabama. Got to talk about Alabama. Got to talk about my boys, my Alabama Crimson Tide looking good, baby. The Deion boy had a week off. Deion had a week off this week. Let's see what the bounce back game looked like. They got UCLA this weekend. Let's see what that looked like. But your favorite team is the Miami Hurricanes, and you're trying to out your players on the show. But anyway, your favorite team is the Miami Hurricanes.
Listen,
right?
Allegedly, it was allegedly. I gotta say that.
Okay, your favorite team is the Miami Hurricanes. They play in the ACC, right?
Yes.
Which decent football conference, probably the third best behind the SEC number 1, the Big 10 2, and the SEC's 3. Right? You can argue. The Big 12 may have an argument against that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, E, I got a question for you, E. And by the way, I also think before I ask this question, the Pac-12, what a shame that the Pac-12 is disbanding when they're probably having as good a year as they've had. You got, multiple teams in the top 25. You got so many Heisman Trophy candidates in the conference.
Yes.
You got
a lot of great quarterbacks too.
A lot of great quarterbacks. The whole Colorado show, which is the biggest show on, the greatest show on earth right now in college football. Yes. And that league is disbanding, right? What a shame. That that commissioner is maybe the worst in the history of sports. But anyway, I digress.
Let me ask you a question. Real quick.
Go ahead.
We're talking college football.
Uh-huh.
And, when the season started, Caleb Williams was, the talk of the town. Was going to win the Heisman back to back. He struggled the last couple of weeks, right?
Uh-huh.
Bo Nix has, continued to play very well. So you think that gap for the Heisman Trophy has it closed between some of the Pac-12 quarterback and Caleb Williams, or is Caleb Williams still?
Well, no, I don't think a Pac-12. No, I don't think a Pac-12 quarterback is no longer in the running. Well, let me not say no longer in the running, but I think the front runner now is J.J. McCarthy. I think the Michigan quarterback right now is in the running to be. And by the way, let me bring a second name, right, as we're talking about this. So look, Penix struggled this week. I think he turned the ball over 4 times. Didn't play as well. Bo Nix has been relatively consistent, but J.J. McCarthy is running. J.J. McCarthy is running a well-oiled machine. And again, Michigan is probably playing better than anybody in the country right now. And remember, if he beats Ohio State and plays well and has that Heisman moment, the Heisman Trophy's his. But let me just say this, right? Forget about all this.
You're absolutely right about that. That's one thing I agree with you, Frank. You're absolutely right about that one.
And let me say something else I think you would agree with. I think we are doing a disservice if we are not putting Marvin Harrison Jr. in the race. Okay?
Yes.
I know you would agree with that too. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the best college football player out. All right? Yes. And so, in the way he's performing and playing, he could also, not simultaneously, but he could also have a Heisman moment if Michigan is 2, Ohio State is 3, right? I believe the game this year is at Michigan.
Yes.
Right?
I think so.
Michigan 2, Ohio State 3. If Ohio State goes into Michigan, wins the game, okay, and Marvin Harrison Jr. catches 10 passes for over 150 yards or more, and he has that Heisman moment, his name should be in the running.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Yes, fair enough. But
right.
he gotta have that Heisman moment. You gotta have that.
Sure.
Heisman moment.
You gotta have that moment, right? But listen, that game sets up perfectly to determine who should be the Heisman to me between him and McCarthy. If McCarthy and Michigan wins that game, right, they'll probably end up number 1 in the nation, you would assume, okay? And if McCarthy has a big game, long as he stays consistent until they get to that game, he'll win the Heisman, all right? Okay. If Harrison stays consistent and he has a Heisman moment at that game on the road, then he wins the Heisman.
Yes, fair
in my opinion.
That's fair enough,
But now, but in the midst of all the college football talk, the question is, you ready?
Yes.
So Clemson, Dabo Swinney has been, very dominant, okay? The only more dominant coaching team in the last 10 years has probably been Alabama.
Yes.
My team, of course. And Georgia's been very good recently. Okay? But in terms of longevity and excellence, right? Clemson has been really, really, really good. Okay? With that being said, Clemson is struggling. Dabo has said that he will not recruit in the transfer portal. Okay? He's lost big-time players. His players haven't developed as people thought they would develop. He hasn't been in the national championship game in a minute. And the question is this, Eric. Is it time for Clemson football and Dabo Swinney to part ways? That's a big question, E.
Yes. Yes, they should part ways.
What?
Yes, they should part ways. I'm not a Dabo fan. Dabo, time to get out of here, Dabo. Time to go.
Time to
go, Dabo. Time to go,
Let
Dabo.
me say this, though. Let me say this, E. All right? 2 national championships.
I'm listening.
All right? 2 national championships. 161-39, Eric. Right? 14 full seasons and 15 in total because he was an interim coach. He took over in the middle of the season. With that kind of record and 2 national championships and the type of players that he's produced, I mean, your boy Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
All right? Deshaun Watson, high level. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Oh, man. One great receiver. Dominating the NFL. Christian Wilkins, great defensive guy right now. Even today, maybe one of the best 2 or 3 defensive players on the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. I mean, Eric, the guy's service to the school has been so amazing. There's no way you can fire Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, but he did it to himself.
How? Elaborate, please.
He did it to himself first and foremost, right? He built a great program in that 10-year span, right? When you're used to winning, you're used to being a top-tier team, and now you're falling off. You know how college football is, Frank, is what have you done for me lately? That's what it is. So now he's taking a dip, right? He doesn't want to recruit in the transfer portal. I don't know about the NIL deals. I don't know what's going on there, right? He's not getting the top recruits. You know, right? He lost Venable, great defensive coach, right? So he's losing a lot of pieces.
Well,
you know, let's not say he's very arrogant. He's very arrogant. Even in defeat, you know, he talks about, oh, we should have handed the ball off. You know what I'm saying? He never takes the humble approach. You know what I'm saying? Dabo, time to go, Dabo.
So one thing I agree, right? So I don't think you can fire him, number one. But this is what I agree with you on. I'm tired of him crying, right? He's crying because, you know, and one thing I like about Deion is this. Deion is very flashy. He talks a lot of shit, right? But when it don't go well, he sits there in front of the media and he takes his lumps and he understands that comes along with the territory, right? When Dabo Swinney was winning, okay, he loved all the adulation, all the love. Oh, it was great. Clemson was great. He was always interviewing in front of every mic he could get in front of, talking all kind of shit. Now, all of a sudden, when it's not working, he's saying the fan base is spoiled, you know, complaining about this, complaining about the program, complaining about the transfer portal. Like you said last week, I guess the quarterback didn't run the play. The play was a handoff. The quarterback tried to make a play. He blamed the quarterback. So I don't like the fact that Dabo Swinney feels like a crybaby right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Wham. Okay? Now, again, when you were doing great and it was great, it was all love. When it's not going great, you take your lumps and you deal with it. Recruit better. Look, I mean, recruit better. You gotta get into the transfer portal. That's just being stubborn. That's being arrogant and stubborn. In today's culture, in any sport, right? Same thing with basketball, with football. You can't win at a high level without adding players in the transfer portal. Now, you don't do what Deion did, because Deion brought a whole new team, and it was a different situation. I get it. But look at Alabama, look at Georgia. All of those programs add players, add pieces in the transfer portal. You can't win in football today without adding pieces in the transfer portal. So that's just stubborn, arrogant foolishness.
Yeah.
Now you have to adapt, okay? I think the mistake he made, Eric, is this. I think Dabo is waiting for the Alabama job. I think so Dabo was waiting for Nick, probably thought Saban was going to retire sooner than later. Saban's not, right? Mm-hmm. When that Georgia job came up, Eric, and they gave Kirby Smart that job, I thought Dabo should have put his hat in the ring for that job. He had done all he could do at Clemson. I thought he should try to, and look, he would have been a better candidate for Georgia than Kirby Smart was. I mean, no one knew Kirby was going to be as great as he was. He was a coordinator at Alabama. Yeah. He was a coordinator.
He was a great,
right?
He was a great defensive coordinator. Remember, Alabama had those great defensive teams.
Yeah, but Dabo Swinney was a proven winner that won national championships. So I mean, that's a whole different world.
You're absolutely right.
Right. So I mean, he would have been a better candidate. But look, Clemson has 3 national championships as a program. Of those 3, Dabo bought him 2.
Yes.
Okay. So he's meant too much to the program to get fired.
Yeah.
So you can't, Eric. Some guys you can't fire. Okay. It's almost like Belichick. To talk about another example, the Patriots can't fire Belichick. You hope at some point amicably they get together and Belichick steps down, right? Because how can you fire a guy that bought you? Kraft is in a tough situation, right? Like you can't. And so I feel like with Dabo, and we do live in the what have you done for me lately world. But when somebody has been so instrumental to your school and your program, Eric, I think Eric. Also, 8 ACC titles. I mean, come on. 2 national championships, 8 ACC titles. I mean, the level of winning that he's brought to that program is legendary.
Number 1 draft choices. You know, he's had
number 1 picks. Yeah, and by the way, his guys also perform well in the NFL too.
Yes, he's had a slew of
development.
He's
Look,
a ton of players. You know, go on and do well in the NFL. I mean,
you're right. Brett Venables is a guy who came under his coaching tree. Okay, and I think he misses him a lot. I think he needs to get another coordinator like that. By the way, as an aside, when is USC ever going to get a guy like that? Like, why don't USC pay somebody $2 million to be their defensive coordinator. Like, when is Lincoln Riley going to wake up and realize you need a guy like that, right? But anyway, that's another.
I mean, Lincoln Riley, wherever he's gone, he's always been very offensive minded. They get up and down the field, no defense at all.
Yeah, I know.
That's just
but Eric, they get to national championship games, but they always lose.
Yeah, they get blown out. They don't lose; they get blown out.
You got to play. You got to play defense. But anyway, Venables is a coach off his coaching tree. The coach for Virginia, right? He's struggling a little bit. Tony Elliott, I believe his name is off that coaching tree as well. And Venables is knocking it out the park right now at Oklahoma. He's building a real formidable team over at Oklahoma. But yeah, I just think it's very, very hard to get rid of a guy that has that kind of a legacy and has done so much for your program at this point. And it's not like Eric, he's 6-6, right? And 7-5, right? Like, they're not that bad. Usually. They're still pretty good. They're still 8-4 bad. You know what I mean? Which is not great, but it's not what Clemson is used to seeing as of late. So let's see, Eric. I don't think you can fire the guy right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But for you, Dabo got to go.
He got to go. Dabo, you got to go. Sorry. Dabo, you know, your time is up. You know.
Are you hating on them because are you hating on them because he kicked your Miami Hurricanes ass so many years in route to winning conference? Are you hating conference championships? Are you hating?
He was very disrespectful. He ran up the score a few times on Miami. He ran up the score on Miami.
So is there a little hate there?
Yeah, there's a little hate there. Dabo, yeah, I'm admitting it. Dominican E, I don't like you, Dabo. I don't like you. So here we go. I don't like you, Dabo. You arrogant.
Dabo got to go as far as Dominican E is concerned. Dabo got to go, huh? That's the slogan. Next time I see you, when I bring you on the show, you should have a shirt on that says, Dabo got to go.
Got to go, Dabo. Go somewhere.
Got to go, Dabo.
Yeah, there you go. Got to go.
All right, E. So look, E. So, E, you know, we talked about your boy Dwight Howard, right? Your buddy.
He ain't my boy.
Your boy Dwight Howard. We talked about some college football. Yeah. Now, E, you know we can't leave without doing a versus.
Oh, here
right?
we go. Here we go.
We can't leave without doing a versus, E. We can't leave without doing a versus. But, E, you know what? What I love about the versatility of this show is we can go from different types of topics, right? So now I want to go from sports to music, Eric, for a quick minute and do a versus, okay? For the culture, for the dominance, for what they've been able to accomplish. Who you got, Eric? P. Diddy versus Dr. Dre. Bad Boy versus Aftermath. Both legendary producers, both artists, both have been very instrumental in the careers and both have brought us legendary artists. All right?
Yes.
Who you got, E? Dre or Diddy?
I'm going West Coast, baby. I'm going West Coast. I'm going with Dre. I'm going
You're a New York guy going with Dre over Diddy?
I'm going Dre. I'm going Dre over Diddy. I'm going Dre over Diddy. NWA, Dre, Aftermath, Eminem, 50. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kendrick Lamar. I mean, the list goes on and on. Snoop Dogg. The game. The list goes on and on. I mean, come on now, Frank. Dre, oh man, he produced a lot of hit records. A lot of hit records.
So let's just break this down for a second, right? So Diddy, right, had some great groups as well, right? With the Notorious B.I.G., who's arguably the greatest artist of all time, arguably. Some people argue that. Fair enough.
Yes.
And also he's had guys like Mace, right? You know, Mace had some good moments. Yes. Groups like 112, you know, songs like Whoa with Black Rob, Total, another group that had a lot of success, that was signed to Bad Boy. You know,
Locks,
recently French Montana. Who?
The Locks early on. The Locks.
The Locks, yep. The Locks brought us the Locks. French Montana. More recently, MGK, Machine Gun Kelly. right, was signed to him. He signed Machine Gun Kelly as well. So, but let me say this. I think you got to break it down from multiple perspectives. So I think if you look at who's built the biggest stars, you got to go with Dre, okay? Because Dre bought us 50 Cent and Eminem, right? I mean, Eminem, 50 Cent, and Dre also bought a Snoop,
Yes.
right? And so you talk about legendary artists. I mean, Snoop, Eminem, 50 Cent.
Yes.
I mean, that's crazy. Now, so why Diddy? And by the way, you know, and Kendrick Lamar is ill too.
Oh, yeah.
But what I don't know is, let me just say this though. I'll say Dre, Eminem, and 50 Cent. I don't know about the later projects if Dre was super duper involved with Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? That whole team over there with Kendrick Lamar is serious. So I mean, they got Kendrick Lamar. They got SZA now, who's on fire, right? Top dog. They killed it. And so I think Dre has some affiliation, but I don't know how impactful he was on Kendrick Lamar. But I do know Snoop, Eminem, and 50 Cent, he got his hands all over those guys.
Yes, he did. Yes,
and his production, etc.
And even NWA, even way before that, NWA, he had his, you know.
Yeah, but hold on. But let me tell you the difference, though. We talking about Dre the executive, Diddy the executive, the artists that they signed, compared to them now as producers.
Yes.
Okay? Because Dre as a producer now produced a lot of great music like NWA stuff on the West Coast that was legendary.
Yes.
But now I think if you go producer, Diddy's catalog is better. Because I feel like Diddy and the Hitmen, I felt like Dre was lit, but there was a moment where it felt like, and Dre to me is the better producer because he's an actual producer, right?
Yes.
More so, but Diddy is less of a guy that's a traditional producer, but he's also a producer because he's telling you how to sing it, what to do with it. But it feels like to me, right? Faith Evans was another artist of Diddy's.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle Monáe. It feels like to me, Eric, why Diddy had a catalog of more artists that were successful. Dre had the more impactful ones, I feel like. But Carl Thomas was another Diddy artist. But Eric, Shine, another Diddy artist. And let me give Drake a credit for another artist. His name is eluding me right now. What's the artist that did the joint album with Bruno Mars recently? And they had the song. What's the name of that artist? He just did the joint project with Bruno Mars.
You the music guy, Frank. I don't know who you talk. I don't know what that is.
All right. Well, anyway, so I'm just naming artists on both sides, right? Yeah. The Bruno Mars project that he just did recently. Smoking out the window, bump, what you doing? What that album, which was lit. But anyway, his name will come to me as we talk, I'm sure. But so there's Anderson .Paak. That's his name. Anderson .Paak, right? That was also something that Dre was involved with too. Now, with that being the case though, Diddy created a sound. He had the whole world dancing. I mean, Diddy was a personality.
He had everybody doing the Harlem
Not
Shake.
just that, Eric. I mean, Diddy was producing records for every artist that was coming out was getting a Diddy record. Missy Elliott, everybody. Diddy at one point was touching anything that was coming out, production-wise. Everything. You had to go get a Diddy record. And by the way, Diddy also was the person that brought back sampling in a crazy way.
Yes, that he did.
Right? The sampling game that with Dre didn't sample as much, but the sampling game that Diddy brought to the game, the samples that Diddy brought to the game, crazy.
Yeah.
Big samples, big dancing, had the clubs on fire. Right? And there was a moment when the East Coast was dominant and Diddy was at the forefront of that. So it's a tough one, E. I feel like Diddy touched more artists in terms of the amount of artists that his reach touched as an executive, as a producer, etc. But I felt like the quality of what Dre touched, right, was better.
Yeah.
So that's how I break it down.
I mean, Dre had 2 artists go diamond, I believe, right? He had Eminem and 50 go diamond. You know, I don't.
That's the quality and the level of what he touched was, and Snoop, legendary artist as well. Yeah. Like I felt like Dre, he touched things at a higher level, but I feel like Diddy's reach was bigger, right? And Diddy's persona was bigger. Before Dre, before Beats with Jimmy Iovine, we liked Dre, but Diddy persona-wise was the biggest in the industry.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he even did some stuff with Usher early on.
Yeah, early Usher.
Yeah.
Diddy, his reach was crazy, E, right? And his personality, his charisma, his character. So I would say from a reach perspective, Diddy, from a quality of and high-level artist perspective, Dre.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. See, Dominican, he just don't know sports. I know music too.
You ain't know music because Anderson .Paak name left me for a second, and you talking about I don't know nothing about music. I don't know nothing about music, Frank.
I know bachata. I know bachata. Romeo Santos. Yeah.
You don't know nothing about no bachata. Joe, all right, E, so I got another one. Versus 2, E, versus number 2. You ready, E?
Yeah.
Let's keep it on the music side. Since we going music, E, I'm going to get you with this one, E. I got a legendary one. NWA, we going west, NWA. Or the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to... Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to... NWA, Wu-Tang Clan, E, who you got, B?
I'm staying West Coast, baby. I'm staying West Coast. NWA, baby. I'm staying West Coast.
Over Wu-Tang?
Over Wu-Tang. I'm staying West Coast.
Why, though? Tell me why. Tell me why. You got to tell me why.
I mean...
Why?
The individual success from NWA, you look at Ice Cube, went on to do great things, right? You look at Eazy-E, went on to, went on to sign Bone Thugs and Harmony, went on to do, phenomenal, outside of NWA, right? You look at Dr. Dre, went on to do his thing. I don't know, MC Red and Yella, I don't know what they was doing. I heard, I think it was MC Red, or one of them was doing porno, but that's another.
Wait, tell me, did you say MC Red?
Ren.
Yeah, MC Ren. Yeah, I thought you said MC Ren. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was out there doing, he was in the adult film industry, but that's another story. But
what you watching MC Ren porn now? How you know MC Ren is in the adult film industry? I never heard anything like that before. Yo, what you watching? MC Ren porn?
That's what I heard. I mean, he was out there doing. I don't know if it's MC Ren. I don't know if it's him or the other one, Yella. I don't know what. I get them confused.
Whoa. All right. See, you might like Dwight Howard a little bit more than you now, and you watching MC Ren or Yella and porn. I don't know what you looking at. Hold on, bro. Whoa.
It was behind the scenes. They were the directors.
All right. I hear you. So I gotta go.
I'm going NWA.
Oh, hold on, but when you say birthing geniuses, the RZA is a musical genius, not of Dre's caliber. But so let me say this, and also Method Man came from that tree. Method Man had a great career. Raekwon, the Purple Tape is one of the best tapes ever, one of the best albums ever from there. Ghostface, crazy. Jizza got when the MCs came. That was a classic with the Jizza. But let me say this.
Dirty.
Let me say this.
Don't forget about Old Dirty.
Oh, ODB, that's right. ODB, legendary.
Yeah.
Oh, give me your number. I call you up. ODB. Hey, Dirty. ODB. Yeah. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all. Shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. Yeah, what? ODB was my favorite. So a lot of greatness was birthed from both trees.
Yes.
Okay? Let me say that. A lot of fruit came from both trees. Let me just give RZA his flowers on this. Yeah. He was the first person to do a deal like he did too, which was lit. Remember, they came together with Steve Rifkin on Loud, okay? Yeah. Then he was able to then take them all individually and do great individual deals under his umbrella. So remember, he kept Raekwon stayed over at Loud, right? Method Man went to Def Jam, right? ODB went to Electra Records with Sylvia Rome. So Ghostface went to Def Jam. So from a business perspective, what RZA did was legendary, right?
Yes.
You also had the merch, right? Wu-Tang Clan was a movement that was crazy. Wu-Tang, I mean, they were, you talking about Japan, the international impact that Wu-Tang had on the world was substantial. Wu-Tang changed the game. Now, that's the pro Wu-Tang stuff. NWA, right, really ushered in an incredible age of gangster music that we still see today.
That's right.
Right? Like unapologetic, in your face, fuck the police.
Straight out of Compton.
Music. Straight out of Compton. And they told stories that you felt like you was growing up and you was walking around Compton when they was telling those stories on those records.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, and I think they were such a movement. And I think Wu-Tang was gangster rap too, but they were spitting facts and knowledge about trying to get out the hood. And it was more of a positive type of message. Whereas NWA was talking about smoking motherfuckers, running trains on females, drinking 40 ounces, and shooting at the police.
Yeah.
But different gangster vibe.
But let me say this though, Frank. That Wu-Tang album, 36 Chambers, I believe that's the name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Classic album.
NWA's first album was classic too, though.
Yeah, I'm going
Fuck the Police.
But I'm just saying NWA, Wu-Tang's first album was a classic. You have to put that album up there with Illmatic. You have to put that up there with those classic albums.
So I love NWA. Right?
NWA.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. Impact, a white boy that I knew said, "Yo, Frank, man, you ever heard this NWA before?" He played "Fuck the Police." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was, growing up in New York City, that shit blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, NWA was great, right? And on the business side, what Eazy-E did, Ice Cube's been able to do, Dre's been able to do, but I gotta rock with Wu-Tang because I just feel like Wu-Tang, like it felt like NWA broke up. Like Ice Cube did his own thing, he was no longer NWA. Dre did his own thing, he was no longer NWA. It felt like Wu-Tang as a movement was way longer, globally, around the world, and everybody still was Wu-Tang, even though that they split up. Yeah. But I felt like they had more of a New York flavor that I grew up listening to and loving. But I also felt like it was a little bit more about getting out the hood, about the struggles. Like they painted pictures about the hood that were dope, but maybe not as crazy, right, as the NWA guys did. So NWA, love NWA. Ice Cube's one of my favorite rappers ever. Dre's one of my favorite producers ever. But in that verses, I gotta rock with Wu-Tang Clan name nothing. Wu-Tang.
Right, I'm going
Wu-Tang. But listen, that's again, you could go either way on that one, right? Those are two legendary groups that impacted the culture. But I just felt like the reason why I'm going with Wu-Tang, because I just felt like the Wu-Tang movement. Like you saw people in Japan with Wu-Tang shirts on. The Wu-Tang merch. They have movies, merch. Like they were doing concerts around the world. Like Wu-Tang was a different level of phenomena than NWA was. Wu-Tang was a different level of phenomena. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, it was. But Frank, I don't know all the members of Wu-Tang. How many was there? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
It was about. It felt like it was. You're talking about 36 Chambers was the name of the album. It felt like it was 36 motherfuckers in the group, right?
Yeah.
But you know who the Inspector Deck, the RZA, the Jizza. You know who the original guys: ODB, Method Man, Ray the Chef. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Ghostface Killer, classic. But anyway, two classic groups. That's why I love doing these verses, man, because you can talk about these groups forever and their greatness. Lastly,
wait.
Go ahead.
Frank, hey, listen. Frank is gonna give away $100 if anybody could give all the members to the Wu-Tang. On the comment, get all the members of the Wu-Tang. Frank will send you $100.
Straight from Dominican Ezel. Straight from Dominican Ezel.
In the comments, Frank gonna sell you $100.
Yeah, that's right. So, E, now listen, that's right. Yep, I do that. You give me all the Wu-Tang Clan members.
That's right.
For sure. So, E, we're going to close out with one more, E. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's go back into basketball. Basketball season is back, kicking, rocking and rolling, right? So, on that note, versus who was the better player, Eric? Kevin Durant, the scoring machine, or the great Larry Joe Bird? Kevin Durant or Larry Joe Bird?
That's easy, Frank.
Who's the better player?
That's easy, Frank. I'm going the guy from French Link, Larry Bird. Larry Bird. That's who I'm going with.
Okay, well, so just so you know I'm not a Kevin Durant fan. So I brought that up because I thought it'd be a good topic. But I think it's Larry Bird as well, right? Larry Bird, 3 championships.
That's a no-brainer.
3 championships with the Celtics. Larry Joe, 3 championships with the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
Won 3 MVPs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was drafted by the Celtics.
Him and Magic carried the mantle. Carried
the torch.
That's right.
Was drafted by the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Him and Magic carried the torch for sure.
That's right.
Was drafted by the Celtics. Was with the Celtics his career, obviously. Didn't hop around. And again, was one of the people who brought the NBA into the modern NBA like we know it.
Yep.
Right?
And one of the biggest trash talkers. And one of the biggest trash talkers. People forget about that. One of the biggest trash talkers.
What that got to do with being a great player?
I'm just saying, that's
I just bust Randy's ass. I beat him 10 games in a row. He was talking shit. It didn't matter. Trash talk. Trash talk. I mean, listen, between you and Randy, I'm 4,863-0. Y'all talk a lot of shit. It don't matter.
You got me.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
I'm just saying.
I mean, look, trash talk. But listen. Let's say this though, right? Kevin Durant, some people argue some people say he's the most prolific scorer ever, the most unique scorer ever. People will argue that he changed the game, which Larry Bird didn't do. So when you see guys like Victor Wembanyama, or you see all of these young players coming in the NBA now, 6'11 guys, 6'10 guys, 6'9 guys, even guys like Luka Doncic that can put the ball on the floor, that are more skilled. A lot of people feel like we owe that to a guy like Kevin Durant, right? You see the bigger guys being more skilled, right? Prolific scorer. And when it's all said and done, Larry Bird is around the top 10 player, right? He's hovering around that top 10 range, okay? Hovering around that top 10 range, okay? When Kevin Durant is done, do you think Kevin Durant would be a top 10 player ever? Because you're saying Larry Bird, but when Kevin Durant's done, do you think he'll be considered a top 10 player ever to play?
Nah, I don't think he'll be a top 10 player. I mean,
okay, fair enough. Because Larry Joe is hovering around that 10 mark, 10 or 11 mark, right? They're probably. And
this why I'm gonna say he won't crack the top 10. Kevin Durant. Those 2 championship teams, as much as we can say he won those championship with the Golden State Warriors, I mean, it didn't look like him coming off, OKC up 3-1, then jumping on Golden State's, bandwagon or whatever you want to call it, and then him winning 2 championships. Larry Bird did it on the back of, just him, just doing him. They had a great team, of course, but it was just him.
Okay, hold on. But listen, Larry Bird's team was maybe one of the top 3 to 4 teams in the history of basketball. I mean, you got how many Hall of Famers on that team, right? Bird, obviously McHale, Robert Parrish, right? I think Dennis Johnson is probably a Hall of Fame. I mean, and then let's not talk about guys in that team like, in different phases. Tiny Archibald came in at one point, was a 6th man. Bill Walton came in, was a 6th man at one point. Bill Walton contributed to championships. Guys like ML Carr, Cornbread, Maxwell, right? I mean, come on, man. Danny Ainge. Yeah. So Bird, even though
Gerald Henderson, don't forget about Gerald Henderson.
Let's forget about him. He's a bum. I mean, why would I mention him with the names we just mentioned? Yeah, forget about Joe Henderson. Him and his son was both bums. Yeah. Joe Henderson Jr. was supposed to be a great NBA player too. Neither one of them was great, but he was okay.
He's
bum
juice. He was part of the Celtics dynasty. He was part of that.
Like, a lot of guys, Jerry Seaston is as well. I mean, it's a lot of guys that's part of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Larry Joe had a lot of great players with him. All right, so let's not act like Kevin Durant going to play with the Warriors. It wasn't his team, but look, he was in OKC, and let's be realistic about this. Ain't no free agents walking in that door. Okay, they lost James Harden to Houston. It was him and Westbrook, and no free agents are coming to play with him in OKC.
Yeah.
Okay, so he needed to get out of there. And listen, I understand, but it's also different culture today. Guys team hop all the time. LeBron did it. Some people argue he's the best player ever. I don't think he is. I got Jordan ahead of him, but LeBron did it. He jumped from team to team to team. So the point is, that's the era that we live in today. So Kevin Durant, right, is a victim of the era that he lived in, and he jumped from team to team. And by the way, OKC wasn't getting no free agents to come play there. So he left. He got 2 rings over there. And by the way, when he got those 2 rings, he was the best player on the team.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
He was the best player on the team. But Larry Joe got 3 rings and 3 MVPs. Durant only got 1 MVP.
Yeah,
right, Durant will average more points per game career-wise, for sure, by far. But I think Durant's game, you see the influence of his game more than you saw with Larry Bird, right? But I agree with you. I'll go with Larry Joe all day. Yeah. Larry Bird is definitely a better player than Durant. Again, Durant is more prolific as a scorer, but Larry Joe is the better basketball player.
Larry Legend. I'm going with Larry Legend.
That's a bad boy right there. And by the way, I'm going to talk about this topic later, right? Because everybody want to say that was a bad white boy, right? People say that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I want to find out. We're going to do a show, and that's going to be one of my topics. Is that racist to say? Don't answer, because people say Larry Bird was a bad white boy, right? Is that racist, or was Larry Bird just a bad boy, period? He was white, but so what? So that's a whole other topic. We'll talk about that another day, E.
Yeah, for sure.
Dominican E, it was great to have you on the show as usual.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell MC Ren and Dwight Howard I said hello.
Yellow. What's the guy? Yellow. One of them, man. I get them confused.
Yeah.
Yellow. I get them confused.
And E, as we always do at the very end,
yes,
we let you give the shout outs to people that you feel deserve it in your Dominican community. Shout out.
Yes.
To the Dominican Republic.
Yes, for sure.
And all the Dominicans out there rocking and rolling.
Yes, for sure. Let me give a big shout out. to the national MVP, Major League Baseball National League MVP, Cartel Marte. He was MVP. The Diamondbacks have just beat Philadelphia Phillies, and now they're off to the World Series. Shout out to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Shout out to my man Cartel Martel. That's how you pronounce it. So shout out to them, and good luck in the World Series.
Yeah, one thing I will say, E, boy, your Dominican brother can play some motherfucking baseball, boy. Woo! Boy, y'all produce baseball players like for a small place like that, right? The amount of great baseball players coming out of DR is unbelievable, right? That's a baseball playing country. I got to tell you that, man.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we
could shout out to the DR baseball. Yo, E, right now, man. Our show's supposed to be all over the DR. E, you supposed to be a celebrity. You got connections, man. Do we have the number 1 show on the DR yet?
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Telemundo. I'm working on that. Telemundo.
All right. I know. Come on. We got to have no more show on the DR. All right, E. Well, listen. It's always great to have you on the show, E.
Thank you for having me.
Till the next time, buddy.
All right.
Take care.
All right, Frank.
All right. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Same.
Catch up. You know I got to finish with a catch up.